All right, team. Hey, welcome to the Tweaky Tuesday. I'm Chuck with Traders War Room, and this is your aftermarket review, 24 May. Guys, we're going to talk about stocks, charts, and getting plans in motion, guys. So I do this for free so that I can give awareness and get you guys some great information going out there so that you can attack, conquer, and destroy the market. All I ask is you let me do my intro. And with that said, we'll go ahead and get cracking. ETF that has majority of the stuff that we are in. Guys, we're looking at the bird's eye view approach. Of course, first on SPY, we see that we actually closed a little bit further down than we did last time, and we actually went a little bit further. Guys, I want you to be paying attention to this. Even though we're green, we are still approaching. We were down here, right? 38, 381, right? That was one of the bottoms that we had, okay? We peaked up, which was fantastic, okay? We had a little mini bull run, but I don't want you guys getting faked out with these mini bull runs, okay? I do still see some bearish sentiment coming in SPY, and I do think we're coming back down to test this area. We got some big meetings coming up ending this week, and I just don't think the bull sentiment is quite there to go on a full range reversal bull run, okay? So just be cautious of that reversal to the downside. Now, SPY is fantastic trade, especially if you guys trade it. If you guys know anything about SPY, you can make money on this going both ways, okay? On the 5-minute chart, yes, you can ride puts down. Look at this. You had a 393 here, bottoms out at the 387, able to make money, riding calls up and down, up and down, up and down. You guys can make money on SPY all day. That's why it is one of the favored tickers to trade on a day trader, but we need to be cautious, okay? And a lot of times when you see SPY rolling to the upside, you're going to see other things like Apple, Microsoft, NVDA, all the big tickers rolling on with it. Conversely, if you start seeing it slide to the downside, those tickers are going to start being onto the red. So just understanding when you're looking at SPY, you're using it as a confirmation for a lot of the liquid, big market cap stocks that are in it as well as a gauge to see what the sentiment is. So let's go ahead and get into some of your guys' ticker. All right, we got Mick John. Kroger still kicking it. McDonald's on Mac Attack. All right, let's look at Kroger. Kroger, here we go. Bird's eye view approach. Guys, Kroger is a fantastic trade to go ahead and get in better sooner than later, okay? We are in a full-blown reversal on Kroger. It is confirmed, okay? We got 3 soldiers, and we're starting to creep above this 9 EMA, guys. That means we got momentum on our side. I think that Kroger comes up and tests this floor right here, about 53.20. So I think we got about $2 upside to Kroger before we start hitting some of this resistance that we had in this consolidation period, and then we'll probably get a little bit of a downward pressure. But I do think that we're on our way to being pretty safe deal with Kroger. Guys, some things during inflation that probably won't lose as much money as other things. We got to think about grocery stores. We got to think about pet stores, and we got to think about things that offer consumer staples on the daily, okay? So those type of items are going to be okay during inflation because prices go up. Guess what? People are still going to buy toilet paper. They're still going to buy groceries. They may not buy the same luxury items as they want. They might go for the off-brand, but they're still going to buy stuff at the grocery stores. Kroger is a fantastic trade to get into, and I do see it on a full-blown reversal. I would just like to see the MACD cross on the daily, but we already got SMI cross, and we got some cool down on TTM squeeze. That's at least 2 out of 3 reasons why to push the buy button. That's good enough for me. This is a buy going long on Kroger. Look for a $2 move to the upside. We got McDonald's. McDonald's is becoming a staple, guys. If you haven't noticed, McDonald's are on every block in this neighborhood, and they are kicking it. We got 3 soldiers, guys. That's continuation, and we're majority of it is above this 9 EMA. This is good to go for continuation to the upside. I do see that we got some resistance coming. When I'm looking at this, I just kind of go in the middle, okay? And we find some levels of resistance. We probably got a little bit of resistance right here. If we're looking at it, 247, I think, will be a good resistance point. We push to the upside, 247, about a $3 move before we start to see some resistance. Obviously, McDonald's will push on major sentiment in the market. So if we start to have a bearish looking outlook and you start to see a lot of the other Dow type of industries coming down to the downside, McDonald's will probably follow suit. But if we continue on a pretty safe trajectory to the upside, I do think that McDonald's has some decent resistance, about a $3 move from where we're at. So it's good enough in my book for to think about going on some calls, going out long, guys. We're going 2 to 4 weeks at least on some contracts. And of course, at this area over here, this is always good for accumulating shares on this particular ticker. It does give a dividend, which is fantastic, especially if you want to go long on shares. I'm trying to pull it up. It gives $1.38 per share. That is a fantastic dividend, okay? If you guys don't know much about dividends, you guys can hit me up, man. We can do a one-on-one mentoring session. We can talk about dividends and getting your portfolio ready for inflationary proof type of stocks where you're still making money while the broader market is losing money. But we got a cross about to happen on the MACD. SMI is already crossing. TTM squeeze is starting to cool off. All systems are go for McDonald's. I like the trade. I think it's a good one. EA. Guys, start putting your tickers in the chat room, man. We got 3 tickers and 2 of them came from the same person. Let's get these tickers out. What stocks do you guys want to check out? EA, I'm liking EA. Right now, though, I don't have enough to confirm this continuation. We're up further on EA. We're up further than we have been before, okay? But we have had some price movements, all right? So if we look at this, we got some price moves, and we're actually inside of this previous price movement right here. We actually got an inside bar brewing up on this one. So our top here, and then our bottom here. So here's our bar, our outside bar. Here's our inside bar. I do like this for continuation. I love seeing patterns like this. But when we start to have these closing, even though we're closing to the upside, this makes me worrisome that we might be seeing some negative pressure coming back down to test the lower levels, because we got kind of a shelf here on the lower levels. If you guys look at this here, we got about a shelf right there. So I could see some negative pressure pushing it down to, 128, 130, something like that. But right now, all systems are go and it's looking good. I'd like to see how this closes tomorrow, and I'd like to see how it does with some resistance up at the top. Now, going out a little bit, okay, we definitely know that we do have some areas of upside potential. We got, this has an area of resistance. We've already broke through some of these previous areas of resistance. So I would say if we can hold this level and we can push through these next levels, right? If we can push past this level, I would say it's a pretty probably safe bet. We're pushing about up to 143 on some good volume over the next few weeks. We could definitely see that, and we could hold that before we start to see our next real level of resistance. But it all depends on whether we can hold this line or not. And, we're at a battle right now with this particular stock. So this one's good to go, in my opinion, for longs. Just go light, go easy, and be ready with your stop losses, because I'm just a little leery about that potential downward trend from here going back to test this area. But for right now, this looks good to go. Where we're at, Tesla, Microsoft, AMD. Tesla. All right, Tesla. How did we do in Tesla today? I didn't even watch Tesla today, guys. I was preoccupied with some other things, doing some training. On daily, still trending down, guys. We were looking at Tesla last week, and we noticed that we were still trending. I'm not bullish on Tesla until we start to trend up above this 9 EMA, okay? While we stay below this on this trajectory down, I still think we continue to go down. And look at that. I predicted it last time. We were going to go past down to 630, and look what it did, man. We hit 628. Perfect execution of the plan. 2-leg strategy to the downside, right? From after this last drop, we consolidated 1 leg. After the last drop, 2 legs. And then we consolidated again and we came back down, okay? So I do think we're going to be in a period probably here here soon, if not in a day or two, where we're going to start to consolidate, get some sideways movement, and then we're going to have to make a decision. Either something bullish on Tesla is going to come out and we start breaking to the upside, or it's going to do its continued pattern where we see it after it comes down, it consolidates and it comes down. So just be cautious on that. Be very cautious with Tesla. However, it's a day trader's dream, guys. Any stock that moves like this in a day period is a day trader's dream. Now notice, you guys could have got into this, okay? Following the moving averages, when we started opening and we started going below our moving average, guys, that's our indicator for going short, okay? And I want you to see this. We talked about that two-leg strategy. Watch this here. We open up on the 5-minute chart. We're starting to close below our 9 EMA. All right, we get into some here, or this actually is enough to kind of get us excited. Our MACD crosses to the downside, SMI crosses, and we start to squeeze to the downside, right? Those are indicators for us to go ahead and go short. And then what does it do? It goes down. We get a little table of consolidation, one leg down, we're out. Guys, two-leg strategy, down, little consolidation. It tried to come back up and test, right? But it stayed in this range, down, we're out down here. Okay, we're out down here. Awesome trade if we would have got into that. And you can ride the wave back up. Look what it does, okay? Tesla does this constantly. Look where we're at here. What is this? 631, 632, something like that. And we could have pushed it up to this shelf, 649, guys. That's a trade all day, every day. That's why people love trading Tesla. That's why people are making bank, okay? And then you ride it back down. After it peaks, you ride it back down. You know, we got 649 here. Where did it bottom out at? 624, guys. Money all day, every day on Tesla. That's why people trade it. That's why they like it. Just be cautious because Tesla's not cheap. When you go with the big boys, you got to pay the price. Microsoft, MSFT. All right, I'm loving some Microsoft right now, guys. Okay, Microsoft, we are in consolidation mode, okay? Notice we started trending right to the downside. We peaked up a little bit, okay? We had a morning star here, but our morning star failed, which we know from, an evening star, which we know from evening stars typically fail to the downside. It did just that, right? We came down, we're starting to consolidate. Now we're right at our 9 EMA. I got a feeling we're going to start peaking up to the upside and go into test, okay? I got a price thing of 266 on here. If we can hold that level, we can easily push to 270. 266 seems to be pretty safe. I would look to go out 2 to 4 weeks at the money, in the money as much as possible. Also at this level, this is good level for share accumulation. They give a dividend, 62 cents per share. Microsoft is one of those that you want in your portfolio for long, but if we're trying to just trade it, make money on the volatility, we can go ahead and go with some at the money, in the money, and we probably can ride this thing up to about 265, 266 within the next few days, as long as the market stays stable and no big, huge surprises, okay? Getting across on the MACD, we already got across the SMI, and the only thing concerning is the TTM squeeze hasn't changed back to the brown color that we have here, okay? So we do got some squeeze to the downside. However, our bump, as I like to call it, is a lot higher than it was previously. Notice we're here and we're up here. So that does tell me that we got some shallowness going on the squeeze, which doesn't mean it's squeezing as hard, okay? We also got the SMI, MACD on our side, 9 moving average. Definitely, these are 3 reasons why to push to buy. I like Microsoft long. I think it's a good trade right now. AMD. All right, AMD, looking at the day chart. AMD, I like it to the bear side, guys. I know people are popular and AMD's popular, but look what we did. Okay, if you guys took my supply and demand class, you would notice this chart. Okay, we talked about AMD in the supply and demand class. You can also purchase that on the website traderswarroom.com, so you can get spun up if you want to learn about trading supply and demand. But look what we got here. Up here was our supply zone that we identified, right? And this was demand zone, okay? And this was the previous chart. We're going off of it. And we talked about this on the thing. We said if we could hold support inside of the supply zone, we'd probably peak to the upside, and we had some levels that we would push. We'd go up, right? If we failed and we failed to the downside, we would come back and at least test the supply zone. And what did we do? Look right here. Look right here. I mean, this is not rocket science, guys. This is just supply and demand trading 101, okay? We failed to hold this level. We peaked to the downside yesterday, and what happened? We came down and we tested our demand zone, okay? I got a feeling we're going to see that again, and we're going to peak down, and we're going to go back and test probably close to the bottom here. I would say about the 50% of our demand zone, if not to the bottom. Now, the one catalyst that could take AMD through the roof, right? They could ride the coattails of NVDA. We need to be cognizant of that. But what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing at least a retest of at least 50% of our demand zone here. And the indicators would indicate that as well. We're about to curl to the downside on the MACD. The SMI is curling to the downside, and we're cooling off on the TTM squeeze, looking more bearish. So I am bearish on this one. I think that we come down and we test $86, $87 from current level. And I think that we do that in the next couple of days. Like I said, the only thing that would keep us safe was stellar rocket level earnings with NVDA, and then AMD would ride coattails on NVDA, but ultimately we'll still probably end up coming back down to test this demand zone right here. So that's my take on AMD. Do what you do with it. But if you guys want to learn more about that supply and demand class, go to the website and check that class out. 15 bucks. We got you covered, guys. Wolf, man, you had to bring up Wolf, didn't you? That was a trade gone wrong. I still think it has some downside, guys. Listen, they had decent earnings, and we did see that they are kind of inflationary proof with their guidance. Okay, strong guidance, all right. But we didn't see the spectacular push that normally we would have saw. What tells me is that the sentiment with Wolf is still pretty weak. So we did push out on our contracts. We pushed out to the third. We did see some downward pressure on Wolf today, which we were able to kind of clear or hedge on majority of our contracts. 80% of the contracts I was in, I was able to get out at 45, right? Our entry was 51, not too bad. $6 loss per contract, but we have remaining 20% rolling. And I do think that this comes back down to test the downside. It did it already, right? I think we do it again. And this thing is not immune to market overall sentiment, guys. If we get a bearish market sentiment, Wolf is going to come down. Okay, this is not immune to it. This is not some stellar company that's going to just skyrocket on its own. If we get the broader market to the downside and we get some sentiment on the bear side, this is going to come back down. I do think we come back down and we test these lower levels, and by the time our contracts get close to expiration, we'll be able to come out with profit on our particular things. Now, if it does push to the upside, I'd be extremely surprised. I just don't think it has enough juice for the squeeze. I think if anything, it would come up here and it would get squeezed pretty hard by resistance and then come back down to test the lower levels. All right, hey, any more tickers? We went through all the tickers, guys. Got any more you want? Charmaine, appreciate you giving us some tickers. Naveed, appreciate you. Mick John, always a pleasure. Any more tickers? Let's get them out. I got some time. We can crank them out. I'll go ahead and give you a couple while we're letting people decide. Apple, we got into an Apple trade. I'm bearish on Apple, guys. Listen, even though we had kind of a little bull day a little bit, and we're after hours, we're pushing up, I still think Apple got the downward side, the downward pressure. We got the 38 put on Apple. I do think we go and test it, man. We just tested just the other day on Friday. We had a bull run yesterday, and it didn't hold up very well. I mean, we had huge. Look at this. We got a 1,030,000 volume trading with it between 141 and 137, guys. Okay. We also had 117 million trading between 143 and 137. Notice that 137. It's liking that bottom level. I think we actually go down to that bottom level and we peak to the downside. I think we make money on our 138 put that we have going out to 3 June. Oh, here we go. Now we got some. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Verizon. You want to look at Verizon. Okay. We're bearish on Verizon, guys. Even though I know what this looks like. It looks like we got this upward swing and stuff. I think we come up to test. Look, we did the supply and demand zone on Verizon, right? We peaked down below our demand zone. We started consolidating a little bit, and then we're pushing to the upside. We're coming up to test. I think we got too much resistance up here, and I think we come back down to test the lower levels. That's just my opinion, but I do see that we're going to come back down, and I think that we get faked out by Verizon. We come back down to at least test 46, 47. So just don't get faked out going long. Like I said, I think we got some heavy resistance here. Look at this volume: 44 million, 46 million, 29 million. Okay, we got some big volume right here that we're going to be hitting with some resistance. All right, so just be cautious, okay? Because our volume's starting to taper off from those big volume numbers. We're starting to taper off. I know the chart's showing some bullish sentiment. I just don't want people to get faked out with that and things of that nature. Now, Verizon's a good stock to go ahead and buy. Look at that, 64 cents per share. This is a dividend stock, guys, and it's cheap. You guys can load the boat on any of these prices below this demand zone. That's a fantastic area to go ahead and start loading the boat on Verizon. But just be cautious on going long with your call options that expire certain times. I'd go out. I'd go at least past 3 June. I think I'd go out, you know, a little bit further into the middle of June or into July with your contracts. Where we at? Where we at? Johnson and Johnson. All right, Johnson Johnson. We like Johnson Johnson. Johnson Johnson's a dividend house. Look at that, $1.13, guys. You guys need to start purchasing yourself some Johnson Johnson. We even got a gap up now. What I think will happen with Johnson Johnson, we might start. We're still trending to the upside. We got the crossing the MACD, the crossing the SMI. We're cooling down on TTM squeeze. I do like Johnson Johnson. Healthcare seems to be doing pretty good in this particular market, but we got some heavy resistance up here, right? We got some resistance here, and the reason why I'm picking here is because we've tested this multiple times. We tested here, here, here. This was trading inside of it. Test, test, test. I mean, multiple tests. So we're looking at 183 before we start to hit some resistance, and then we'll probably, if we can't hold that, we're probably going to fail, and we're going to come back to fill up this gap. Okay. So just be ready for the downward trend on this one. It's been moving hot pretty good so far, right? 3 soldiers, boom, 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 right? We even gapped up a little bit, but just be cautious. We're going to come up here. We're going to test 183, 182, something like that. And we're going to get that resistance. We're going to feel it. People are going to profit take, and we're going to come back down, most likely to fill this gap here at around 177 and 176. Okay, so just be cognizant of that and be ready to ride this thing up and ride it down on both calls and puts. Apple. Hey, brother, were you here? Did you get the Apple already that I did? Or do you need me to do Apple again? While I'm waiting for your answer, I'll move on to SoFi. All right, SoFi, guys. SoFi, so we're headed back down into our previous supply zone. We peaked out of it, right? But we weren't able to hold it, and we had our levels. Look what we did, okay? We put our levels in here on just table, and it was trading right at those levels that we had, okay? We even started getting rejected right where we thought we'd get rejected, about the 815, 820 area. Rejected. We're coming back down to our previous supply level. We're going to start testing this, okay? So just be careful. Probably safe to say we probably can ride some puts to the downside. There's about a 50 cent, maybe even $1 movement to go test our previous supply low and our previous demand high. So just be cognizant. I think we're on a downward trend with this. We're about to cross in the MACD. We already got SMI cross. We're cooling off on TTM squeeze. I'm bearish on SoFi. This comes down, and we're going to start testing the $6 range again very soon. SQM. I haven't done SQM. What is that? SQM. I don't know what this is. Looking at the chart, I like what I'm seeing. I just don't know what this stock is. Look at that chart. Beautiful chart. I don't know what the stock is, but by looking at the chart, it looks pretty good. Volume is a little lower than we'd like to trade normally. We're starting to pick up volume. That's always good. Look at this, okay? We got 1 million here, you know, 1,000,006, 1,000,007, 1,000,009. Volume starting to pick up, picking up. Okay, yeah, we like this level. I think we're in a consolidation period here. And as long as we keep the steam on this particular ticker, I think we get some upside potential. I'd just be cautious. If you start to curl on this MACD, I would think that we're probably going to start going to the downside. And we got some levels we could come back and test. You know, we got a little shelf here that's been tested a couple times. 83 would be a good level for a pullback, in my opinion. That would give us about a $7 downward trend. Where we're at, we're trading at 100. Well, that would give us a little bit more than that. And we also got some 2 levels here, 90. That'd give us about a $10 downward trend from this one. But yeah, looking at the chart right now, the chart looks good. XLF, that was another trade we did on our instant messaging platform, guys. Absolutely destroyed XLF, and we were able to catch it down here, and we pushed out the alert, and we peaked out over here. We were able to secure money, guys. XLF doesn't move too much, but when it does, you're able to make some decent money. Just understand that the banks are coming under pressure. All right. XLF, of course, is an ETF in the financial sector. It has a lot of the old school brick and mortar banks as well as the new school fintech banks. Okay, just be cautious with this because we got some reports coming out later on this week that are going to deal specifically with financial markets. All right, and I need you guys to understand if that. So here's the deal, right? And this, we're just going to put it out now. if those reports come out and we get negative reports or we get less than stellar reports, the banks are going to suffer and we're going to start to see the downward trend. And I think the SPY tanks as well. If we get some decent news and stuff like that and the banks are holding strong, we're going to see the uptrend and the uptick. Now, it won't be anything significant, but we could definitely see on some decent news, we could definitely see XLF push up to about $36. I think calling it 35.50 would be a little safer. That'd be more conservative. But on some good, decent news coming out later this week, we could see a push to the upside. Now, if you're feeling bullish on this one and you like this one, make sure you go out far enough on your contracts, okay? But also buying shares, this is perfectly fine. I like this at this level. This is just not going to move around as much. You're not going to make as much money off this particular ETF. It's not just going to move around like some of the other ETFs, okay? So just be understanding this is more of a longer, slower trade if you're doing shares on this one. But that important data that we're paying for, and I think it comes out Thursday, is going to give us an indicator on whether we go long or short in the banks, okay? And if we get good data, we also want to start looking at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, stuff like that, okay? Where we at? All right, yeah, brother, I got you. We'll do Apple again. All right, Riven. All right, we talked about this the other day when we did this. I see some bearish sentiment in Riven. I think we come down to test this 24.57 level. Okay, that's just me. I'd be put city on this particular ticker. I just don't think it has the juice right now to get the bullish sentiment. I think we come back down to test these lower levels, and this looks like a good support level to the downside for Riven. Okay, we're starting to peak down past our 9 EMA, which means momentum is kind of cooling out of it. We're also peaking up. We're also coming down on volume, which tells me, people aren't buying into this right now. We're about to cross on the SMI, and it looks like the MACD wants to cross as well. We're also probably looking to squeeze to the downside because we're not getting that bullish sentiment. Okay, it's starting to really taper in. So just be careful. I'd be on puts on this one, waiting for it to drop maybe $1, $2 over the next week or so. And I bet puts are pretty cheap. How much are contracts? Look at that. So if we went out, say 10 June, remember at the money, in the money as much as possible. We could go $25 put, right? 153, not a bad price for those things. Got a nice delta 34, and we're only losing 6 cents a day. I think we continue to the downside. I think we'd be able to make some money on this trade. But even going at the money or in the money, the contracts are not that expensive, and your deltas are pretty juiced up. And look at your theta. Your theta is not really that much at all. So pretty decent contracts to go on the bearish side of the house. All right, Apple. We'll do Apple again. All right, so when I talked about Apple, I say I'm bearish on Apple. I think that we come back down to test these lower levels. I think we have a shelf on Apple, and it wants to test. Okay, here's our shelf, basically, right? Boom, 137, right? We have a 138 put that we put out until 3 June. I think we come down tomorrow. I got a feeling we're going to open probably lower. We definitely have an inside bar going on right now, right? So here's our outside bar, our inside bar. So we got trigger levels. Anytime you see these type of things, you got trigger levels, and we go just a little bit up to be conservative, right? So this is our top level trigger. If we start to peak and close above 144, we start to go long, all right? And then we can move this a little bit to the downside because we're being conservative, right? We're not being too overly aggressive. And we start to peak at 136, we start to go short. But we do have a 138 put. We're trying to catch that pressure to the downside. But these are your trigger points for going longs and for going short on Apple. This is an important zone for Apple. We may even consolidate pretty tight, but I got a feeling we're probably going to peak at least to test this level over here again and see how we reject it or we accept it. And if we accept it, we're probably going to start peaking it to the lower 130s, maybe even the high 120s. That's just my opinion, though. Thank you for doing this. Hey, Mike, no problem, man. I love this stuff, dude. This is what I like to do. Neo. All I ask for you guys, if you like this stuff too, man, just come check us out at traderswarroom.com or join our free Discord, guys. If you guys aren't part of it, come check us out. And if you guys are part of it, man, you need to be more engaging over there in the chat groups because I don't see a lot of you guys. But all right, Neo, Again, we talked about NEO in our supply and demand class, okay? This is supply zone, this is demand zone. What happened again? Just like we talked about with AMD, we failed supply zone and we come back down to the demand zone. And we did just that, guys. I tell you, this is not rocket science. This is just doing the homework and having experience in trading and stuff. You guys will get this. You just got to put the time in and the effort in and figure this stuff out. If you guys are into this supply and demand, check that class out at traderswarroom.com, man. I did about an hour and 20 minutes talking supply and demand. It's a good class, guys. Put a lot of effort into it. But headed down, we're already peaking right here. I got a feeling we got some more downward pressure. I bet we come down and we start to test 13s, maybe even the low 14s. And I think put City on NEO, in my opinion, right now. And I think we come down to go back into this demand zone before we see what resistance and support is down here before we start to peak to the upside. So put City on NEO. SPY. All right, we'll check out SPY for you. We always start the class out with SPY, Claire Bear. But I got you right here. SPY, I think we got some downward pressure on SPY coming, okay? We talked about how we don't want to get faked out with these runs, right? And what happened, okay, we run. We get negative pressure 1 on this day. We came up to the 9 EMA, which had momentum on our side, but we failed to peak above it, okay? We couldn't go above it. Now, we went above here, right, barely, and then we faked out, okay? When we're looking for that true reversal on the SPY, we're going to see multiple strong candles above this 9 EMA showing us momentum to the upside, okay? I don't see it right now. I see downward side. I think we come down and test this 380, 381 area on SPY very soon. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing a lot of puts. But if you trade SPY during the day, we talked about how you can always make money on SPY because SPY trades so violently. You can come in at SPY here like 393, you go down to the shelf, 387, make money, ride it back up, 392 all day, every day on SPY. If you can catch it, you can be quick, okay? SQQ, you want to do the inverse ETFs. So we do SQQ, we got to look at the regular Q, right? Remember, this one is a bearish. This is a short inverse ETF. What is with these lines? What I got? Hang on. Let me fix this. All right. Anytime this is going up, the market's going down, okay? Anytime this is going down, the market's going up. Right now we're queuing up, which coincides with what we were just talking about with SPY, okay? And we're at this level. We've marked this level out before. This is a strong resistance point for the Qs, okay? I got a feeling we're going to break through this and we're going to probably start creeping back up, okay? If SPY dumps, like I think they're going to dump, $65 on the SQQ is definitely in the near future. And any of these inverse ETFs, you just understand if you're going calls on the inverse ETFs, you're betting that the broader market is headed to the downside. Now, let's check what the Q look like. Since we did the SQ, we got to look at the Q, and it coincides with that, right? We got a downward trend on the Q. We still need to, before we start to think about reversal on the Qs, we got a trend above this 9 EMA. We're not doing that. I see more downward pressure. I got a lower level on the Q at 274. That's where I think we're going to head down and we're going to start testing 274. That's my thing. I think we hit that in the next couple of weeks. What do you do different than Chris? Hey, we just got different analysts and we got different people in the chat groups. You know, like I said, come over there to the free side, Red Lady. And also, since you're a Red Lady, I got a feeling you're a female trader. We got a fantastic, what I call them, female lady traders. TWR lady traders are aggressive over there. They're also amazing traders, and we got a good community. So it's really no different, except you get more analysts that are better than me on my server because I want better people. You got to surround yourself by better people. And so I try to surround myself by only the best on my server. but just check it out. Like I said, free and paid services. So it does nothing for you to go over there and check it out for free. And we got Ford, another one coming in at the bell. Mike, I got you. All right, how are we looking on Ford? We're consolidating. We're in range. Let's look at this. All right, because we like Ford, don't we? We do like Ford. All right, we came on a downward trend. All right, let's look at from the uptrend here. Right? Okay, so we're starting to still queue down to the bottom sector. I got a feeling that this is probably our zone where we're going to start testing. Okay, we're already at 1242. We're probably got a little bit more downside on Ford before we start to get rejected and try to pop to the upside. Okay, so but it's starting to get more shallow. It's not as drastic as we saw here, right? We saw this drastic drop here, boom, there. We're not as drastic right now. So we're definitely seeing a little bit more shallowness, which is fantastic. But ultimately, I think we got some more downside, and we're going to come back down here to test these lower levels. And then probably what'll happen is it'll peak up because it gets to a point where people and investors are saying enough's enough. This is the time for me to go ahead and go long on it. I do think we got some downward pressure. We're going to go test probably $12, and then we'll start to peak up from there. All right, guys. Hey, that's it for today. I want to thank you guys for coming along with us. I will appreciate you guys' support. Please check us out, traderswarroom.com, guys. We got tons of stuff going on. Check us out on the Discord. Check us out on the Instant Messenger. Go to our YouTube site. We got a lot of free stuff. It's not just all about dollars and cents. We got a lot of free stuff that we offer people. Obviously, we're a business, so we do want to make money, and we put a lot of effort into the quality and the content that we have. But check us out today, guys, and hopefully I see you guys on the trading floor. How do you get added to your Discord, or do you only post on Chris saying, no, I got my Discord here. We'll do this for you. Watch this. And I put this everywhere. Take a picture of this with your phone. Here's the links right here. You can go to these websites and you can get spun up right there, Claire Bear. But guys, I want to appreciate you for coming along with us on this journey. Remember, we look at the stock market like a war zone. Stocks and sectors are our battles. We do it together as a team. Also, keep a lookout for my Memorial Day special, guys. We were founded by military veterans. Most of us are military veterans. We're going to do a special interview with military veteran traders. So if you got loved ones out there that served honorably in the military, give them a holler for your boy Chuck and tell them appreciate you and thank you for your service, guys. I appreciate you guys. Remember, if you guys are ready to rock it, then follow me and let's go to war together. See you guys later.